Bruce Lee's 1972 film, Way of the Dragon, originally released under the name Return of the Dragon, was written and directed by Bruce Lee himself, and he stars as the main protagonist in this film, and he's also the fight choreographer. This remains Bruce Lee's only film that he directed himself that he fully completed before he tragically passed away. In this movie, Bruce Lee plays a character named Tang Lung. Kind of sounds like they pronounce it as Alung. I don't know. This movie is iconically known for Bruce Lee's fight against Chuck Norris in the Roman Colosseum, and as far as I know is actually his only action comedy film. That's right, comedy. Bruce Lee's character is hired to fly to Rome from a friend of the family to protect their restaurant that's under attack from gang members. So the movie opens up with Bruce Lee's character standing at an airport as he just arrived in Rome, I believe, looking very uncomfortable as he's getting some intense stares from this lady next to him and from a couple other people who are just like pacing around him, glaring at him with their arms folded. The scene that follows is my favorite scene. Not in the whole movie, but it's one of the best scenes. It sticks out to me, and it's something I think about every time I think of a Bruce Lee movie. So Bruce Lee like traumatizes this child because Bruce's character doesn't know how to speak English or Italian or whatever. So he can only speak Chinese. So he walks by this kid really suspiciously, like he's up to something, and then he goes back and as if he's making some kind of shady drug deal, he taps on this kid's like arm. And when the kid looks at him, he's just like, I guess that's the best way he could communicate that he's hungry and that he wants food, because the kid had ice cream and he's trying to communicate that he wants food and he doesn't know where to get it or whatever. I don't think that's the best way to communicate that, but this scene cracks me up every time. And then he runs away like he just committed a crime or something, and it's great. He enters a restaurant at the airport, and when the waitress comes up and gives him the menu, he doesn't know how to read it, so he tries to order eggs, and it's pretty obvious that he's saying eggs, but for some reason the waitress can't understand him. So then he just points to like everything on the soup menu, and so she brings him like all the soup. And then what's weird is she just stands there and watches him eat the soup, like as if she poisoned it. And she's just trying to wait for him to take the first bite or something. Yeah, and I couldn't help but notice that in the background there's this woman just staring at him the whole time. And I think she's supposed to be a background character. I'm not sure if they told her to do this or if she was just... I don't know if she's just staring right into the camera, I believe. Anyway, when he's done, he goes outside and he meets the woman that he's supposed to meet up with that's supposed to pick him up. And she takes him back to her apartment. She seems to hate him, even though she's the one who called her, I guess, relative in China and sent him to them for protection. So anyway, then there's this whole scene where she's trying to explain to him how to be friendly to people, and he's just doing exactly what she says. And then this woman comes up and is like flirting with Bruce Lee. And so he's just doing what this girl told him to do, and to smile and be polite and kind of try to do what they do. So Bruce ends up accidentally looking like he's flirting with this woman too. And then she comes up and puts her arm around him, and then all of a sudden the Chinese chick that picked him up is like mad at him, and she storms off.
The foreigners here are quite friendly. You'll see. When people smile, you smile back. It's only right. And when they put their arm around you, they're being friendly. It's okay. You should behave in just the same way. So remember that. While you're here, just don't be so uptight.
Anyway, so then this girl that Bruce Lee just met takes him back to her apartment, and Bruce is in there doing his like martial arts thing, and then she comes in the room topless and scares him off for some reason, which I don't know why he would run away, but whatever, that's his thing.
Wow.
So then Bruce makes his way to the restaurant, and he meets the owner and the guy that he's supposed to be there to protect, basically, and his name is, what they call him is Uncle Wang. So anyway, after meeting everybody, Bruce Lee goes inside the restaurant and decides that he needs to use the restroom. So he goes in the bathroom to use the toilet, and he climbs up on the toilet perched in this crouch position, which was so strange. And my reaction was the same as the American guy, or the Italian guy that walks in there and is just like, what the fuck? While he's using the restroom, this gang comes in to, I guess, scare off customers. And these are the lamest looking gang members I've ever seen in my life. So the gang members end up leaving, and Bruce Lee comes out of the bathroom a little too late. And then later on, the gang members come back to the restaurant and pretend to be customers for a little bit. And this guy asks one of the waiters if they have Chinese spare ribs. I don't know if it's supposed to be a funny joke or something, because then he punches him in the ribs. But all I could focus on is this dude's voiceover.
May you help me? You don't know what Chinese spare ribs are? Well, let me show you, man.
These guys start causing trouble for the restaurant and kind of like being destructive, so they ask him to take it outside, and this is where we get the first fight scene of the movie. Bruce's character Tang knows that these guys won't take him seriously when he says he's going to do Chinese boxing or kung fu, so he starts doing all these flashy moves and kind of throws them off. And then when they actually come in to attack him, he like unleashes like this brutal spinning hook kick on him.
Dragon whips his tail.
So then Bruce's character Tang starts taking out the rest of the gang members, but this one white guy, there is no faking that. Bruce Lee actually does like a skipping sidekick right into this guy's ribs or heart area, I don't know, and sends the poor bastard flying. So anyways, later, Bruce is in the back alley again with the guys from the restaurant, and they want him to show them a demonstration of some of his skills, because they were so impressed when he beat up those gang members. So this is the second guy I feel bad for, because he once again kicks the fuck out of somebody, and this time the guy's at least holding some sort of padding, but I don't think it did much. And what they did was they put a bunch of like a stack of boxes behind the guy and a chair, hoping that I guess he'd fall into the chair, and if the chair fell over he would be cushioned by the boxes. But Bruce sidekicks this guy so hard that you could like see the dude get whiplash from the kick, and then he flies over the chair and kind of falls short and misses the boxes and just like lands on the ground, and all the boxes fall on top of him. So afterwards they go into the Chinese girl's apartment, and there's a guy with a gun waiting for them, and so Bruce takes him out with a dart. He does this thing, he like jumps in the air and then stomps like next to his head and then like pretends to break the guy's neck with his feet. And then afterward he like does this very strange thing where he like comes in, he's like, and I'm not sure what that was supposed to do, because he already broke the guy's neck, and I'm not sure if that was supposed to be him breaking the guy's neck again, or I don't know. It was very bizarre. And then Bruce drags him out of the front door and just leaves him there. And then he's just like, well, see you later. So then we get the first look at the boss of the gang, who has been hiring all these thugs to go bother the people at the restaurant. Then the boss decides to hire some martial artists to attack Bruce Lee's character, or assassinate him. And then we get this scene where Bruce is back at the Chinese girl's apartment again. He's over there doing like this iconic flexing scene. Then she makes him some food, and she seems all like creepy and into him, and she's like watching him eat, and it also seems like she's poisoned the food, so this is the second person that seems like they're like waiting for him to eat poison. I don't know if her character's supposed to like have a crush on him now or what, but anyway, so then they go back. It shows back at the restaurant, and the gang members come back to mess the place up. But this time they're rolling deep, and they got like 15 or 20 guys with them. Meanwhile, Bruce and this girl are just out sightseeing around Rome. After they come back from sightseeing, they enter the restaurant and they get stopped by the dudes with guns, and they tell them that they want them to go back to China. So they decide to take them out back into the back alley, and well, this happens. So then the fat Italian-looking gang member runs in and tells the boss what happened, and the boss says this.
Go and get him, but no guns.
Why no guns? I guess because they're supposed to be in public and they're trying to hide the guns thing, but isn't that awfully convenient? Go and get them, but no guns. So then Bruce starts taking them all out with 2 pairs of nunchucks that he had, I guess, hidden in his waistband. And they decide for some reason that the best tactic would be to start going at him one by one for some reason. So then one of the last guys who's supposed to go after him is this guy in the back. And tell me he doesn't look like someone's dad. Like, what are you doing there in the back alley with the knife and this gang? Shouldn't you be at home, like, you know? And the sound effects of the nunchucks on this part are hilarious. It's like the same sound effect over and over again. So then Bruce's character Tang basically walks back in the restaurant and starts taking out everybody's guns with darts and hitting them with nunchucks. He even kicks one guy in the nuts. The boss is about to leave, and then Bruce like throws nunchucks around his wrist or something, which wouldn't stop you at all from like leaving. He could still totally leave, but he decides to stay, I guess. And then there's this scene, which I actually really enjoy because I think it's done really well.
Let him know. If I see him here again, he won't leave alive. Tell him!
He told us not to come and cause any more trouble.
Get them out.
So then Bruce's character, Tang or Tonglong or whatever, is hanging out at the apartment when that same guy who was in their apartment before with the gun is now across the street trying to snipe them with a rifle through the window. And Bruce runs across the street and climbs up to the top of the building and takes this guy out again with a dart, basically. So when Bruce gets back to the apartment, the main character chick is missing. She's been abducted by the gang members. And Bruce gets the guys from the restaurant together to go save her. A fight ensues, and Bruce kicks out a light to show how skilled he is. So then the flamboyant guy from earlier pretends to make friends with Tonglong or Bruce and the guys from the restaurant and lures them out to this dirt field here where they have to fight these karate guys. So while everyone's distracted fighting, freaking Uncle Wang or whatever his name was literally backstabs them. He stabs the guys in the back with a knife, and they're just like, why? And his reason, he's like crazy or something, and his reason was just that, he's like, this is all Tan Lung's fault for causing trouble and stuff, and he just wants to go back to China. So then Bruce finally enters the Roman Colosseum looking for the guy he's supposed to fight, and he keeps hearing all these weird voices that I guess are coming from some dudes that are watching him or something. And that's when he sees Chuck Norris standing there, and he gives him the thumbs down, like he's gonna kill him or something or whatever. It's kind of a like Roman Colosseum thing, I guess. And then Bruce is like, you come here. And then friggin' he hears more of those voices, and I guess, like I said, there's someone watching him from somewhere, and they're just like, the guy you just saw is like gonna kill you. So then Bruce finally meets up with Chuck Norris, and they both start disrobing and warming up for their fight. And then there's just this small kitten that they keep showing, and I don't know why. It's like they keep showing this small kitten as if it's like a main part of the whole sequence, and I'm not really sure. They like spend a lot of time showing this kitten over and over again. I don't know if the cat is supposed to represent something. But I kind of doubt it. I don't really know. All I know is it's kind of hilarious. It's like showing Chuck Norris stretch, and of course it's got to show the cat stretch, and then it shows Bruce Lee stretch, and then the cat is the one who actually signals the initiation of their fight by like meowing or something. So then finally Bruce and Chuck start fighting each other. And what's really great about this fight scene is at the time, in the early 70s, there were no fight scenes in movies like this. This is like the closest thing to an actual fight in a movie at the time it was released. And of course, it's got to show the cat. I don't know, guys. I didn't write it. I love it. I love it, though. This had to be Bruce's idea. I mean, he was the one who wrote and directed the movie, so... So Bruce Lee is dodging Chuck Norris's strikes in this sweet slow motion scene, and then it shows the kitten playing with like a little ball of paper. Which I guess, now I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to go ahead and say that represents how Bruce Lee is supposedly toying with Chuck Norris. But, I mean, more likely, I don't know, it probably doesn't mean anything, and it's just this cat. Anyway, this scene is iconic. If you haven't seen this fight scene, I don't know how. Just look at this. I mean, look at it. So, Bruce's character starts to finally beat Chuck's character, and Chuck is trying to act like he has a broken arm and a broken leg, which I guess he did alright for the time. It makes me laugh a little bit because his hand is like all, the way he hurts it is Bruce like hits him in the arm, and it's just like it's like broken all of a sudden or something. So then it's showing a close-up of each character, and then of course it's showing a close-up of the kitten, and then Bruce snaps Chuck Norris's neck and ends the fight. And the look on Bruce's face when he does it's just great, actually. Except there's this weird sound effect in the background. I don't know what the heck it is. So then after Bruce kills Chuck Norris, he lays his gi, he drapes it over him and leaves his belt and his shoes there out of respect. And he leaves them there in the Colosseum. and then everything kind of wraps up from there. So overall, this is a classic movie. It's a great Bruce Lee movie. It's one of my top 3 favorites out of Fists of Fury, Enter the Dragon, and Way of the Dragon. And it's probably my 3rd favorite out of those 3, but it's still pretty good, and it's the only one that's an actual like action comedy. I find a lot of the stuff in the movie funny. Some of the jokes are hit and miss, but it's pretty good. And then there's some stuff that's not supposed to be funny that I find hilarious, so it's pretty great. But there's a lot of really good fight scenes in this movie that are pretty iconic. So I definitely recommend watching this movie if you haven't somehow seen it already. And that's Bruce Lee's Way of the Dragon from 1972. Hit like, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.